What's my beef with Meghan Markle and H? Let me tell you. Well, right now they owe me a ton of money for therapy, and I'm already crazy. I didn't need help. But get excited, people. It's Tuesday. So it's podcast day. I listen so you don't have to. You're welcome. Well, not really. Send Sauvignon Blanc to your friend Heather in Vancouver. Thank you. So we're going to do the recap, Heather from the Hood style. Buckle up. It's going to be a long one. And I want to put this out there. The girl on the podcast today is Heather Hansen, something like that. She designs scrubs, and I want everyone to know in the healthcare profession, this is not against you. I am not making fun of you guys. What you do is, God bless you. And I'm related to a lot of healthcare workers, and they would me if I was mean. So absolutely not. We love everyone in healthcare. However, your friend Heather speaks fluent sarcasm, and well, I do what I do. So, okay. So, it starts off with Megsy's monologue, right? And I'm not doing this again. Like I said, it's going to be a long video. So, as I have been building as ever, it's a constant state of recollaboration. Scratching things off your list, but not in a fun way, like a scratch and win ticket, or getting dirty, but not in a fun way. Not like playing in the dirt. Like she thinks we're a bunch of morons like her that we don't understand what she's saying. All right. So this Heather girl, in good honor, she made $318 million in 2023 off scrubs. Good for her, man. And Meg says, once you see it, you can't unsee it. So I guess the name Figs. Like F-I-G-S, right? So then Meg says to this Heather girl, I remember that name because that's my name. She says, I'm so happy to meet you. So when I met Trina, the business partner, at G9, she might have mentioned it, Meg says. And she's like, she was really surprised that I knew what Figs was. And she asked me, how do you know? And she's like, Meg says, I do a lot of work with Children's Hospital LA. And when I was a little kid, I would see people in ill-fitting scrubs. And I thought, ew. And now they're so tailored. And now I know it was you. Oh, you did such a good job. All right. And then this Heather girl says, oh, I was watching your show as ever. And I'm a horrible cook. Good news for you, Chicklet. You're still going to be a horrible cook because Megs can't cook either. And Meg says, yes, you know, what? Just like you, I was looking at something not to reinvent the wheel, but to elevate it. And then this Heather goes like, yeah, to elevate. And then they said elevate like 1,000 more times. And I was like, oh my God. And then she asked this Heather girl, how did you get into designing scrubs or making scrubs, whatever? And she's like, well, I wanted to be a surgeon. And I have a very, I have attention to detail and prestige. And then she's like, and then I went to like medical school, and I got all D's. Okay. Because, you know, attention to detail and prestige, that's how you decide you want to be a surgeon, but okay. And then she says she moved to Italy to design handbags. And then Meg says, well, making handbags is just like being a surgeon. It's the still attention to detail and stuff. So good news for you guys. Just phone up Birkin Bags, Louis Vuitton or somebody and say, hey man, I can't afford a surgeon. Can you help me out? Same thing. Anyways, and then this girl, Heather, she had a different business partner, not this Trina girl, a different guy, who croaked. And then she went to Kenya and she saw all these doctors and nurses not wearing scrubs. And she's like, well, this is weird. I wonder why they don't have scrubs. Because they're poor. They're in Kenya. Anyways, I was like, oh my God. So then she came back to LA, and then I felt like a jerk thinking that to myself. And she hired a tailor and sent them 10 scrubs, and people were really excited. Yeah, because at least someone got some scrubs. And then she says, yeah, I hired a tailor because I can't sew. And then Megsy says, well, I can sew. Of course she can. And then she's like, you know, when I was in college, but she went like she didn't say the full word college. Okay, which I found odd. Okay, so then she says, you know, when I was in I was a theater major And a part of being a requirement was you had to do soup to nuts. Every part of what a production would entail, which is amazing for when you are running a team. So she says she had to learn how to sew, how to do the lighting, how to do set design, how you name it, she knows how to do it. Okay. And then we cut to a commercial, which is weird because this is the first time in the podcasts that I've listened to that have had a commercial. Hold, please. Sorry, the neighbor's building something, freaking out Queen Elizabeth. Okay. So the first commercial was for Wayfair. You got just what I need. And, which I found odd, but okay. And then there was another commercial. I'm like, what is going on? And that one was for LinkedIn jobs. And both these commercials have codes for female founder where you get 15% off. All right. So then we come back to talking to Heather and Duchess DELULU, and they're talking about colors of scrubs. And then I tuned out. I'm not even going to lie, because I paid $8 for 6 apples today, and I was really mad about it, and I didn't care about the color. But then there was another commercial. I'm like, what is happening? All right. But this was the best one yet. And it was about shipping. And if you don't have good shipping, you will not have return customers. So we all know Meg's shipping company that she hired for her imposter jam is not going well. So I was like, huh? So this was for ship, station, and use code confessions for 15% off. And then there was another commercial. I was like, oh my God. And this one was for Ginny Kane outfits. Again, use code confessions. And now there's like 2 minutes left of this interview. And they start talking about 2020. And now this is where yeah, okay. They did a lot of great work in 2020, this Heather girl and her company. They gave out free masks and all the stuff that the medical people would need in 2020. I can't say what happened in 2020. You guys know. All right. And then apparently they invented oxypulses. I don't even know what that is, but Meg was really impressed. Okay. And then Megsy asks, what's it like for your company to go public? She really wants to know this. And apparently they were the first female founders to go public. And I was like, okay, I don't know. And I wasn't about to look it up because I really honestly don't care if that's true or not. And then I told you 3 pages. And then DELULU asks, what are some of the hardships you had to overcome? And she said, well, we got sued. And then I just started laughing because I was like, ha, all right, isn't that a coinky dink? And, but the girl, won the lawsuit. And if you don't know, Megsy's getting sued because of the bath salts oil thing. And then, Megsy asks, how did you overcome it? And this Heather girl goes, well, it's like David and Goliath. You just keep going. And then Meg says, no word of a lie, I didn't make this up. She's like, you're like slaying dragons. And I was like, ah, my God. Okay. Done. And then it just ended. Game over already. So, you're welcome. I can go get drunk now.